Welcome back. Today I am covering the potentially exciting, potentially concerning news that Palantir just filed for yesterday, Friday. It was October 1st after the close. Didn't show up as news, actually. It showed up under financials and then SEC filings. And here it is, automatic shelf registration statement of securities of well-known seasoned issuers. So we click into this. Well, actually, the first question you'll have is, what even is a shelf offering? So here we are. A shelf offering is an SEC provision that allows an equity issuer to register a new issue of securities without having to sell the entire issue at once. The issuer can instead sell portions of the issue over a 3-year time period without re-registering the security or incurring penalties. So right away that gives us a hint. This is not a short-term, we need money right now, and obviously they don't. If we look at their balance sheet, let me pull that up. If we look at their balance sheet, they actually have, of course, we've talked about this many times, $2.3 billion in cash. This was as of June 30th. But then if we take it a step further, in current assets, they have $2.6 billion total. But if you look down here to current liabilities, under $1 billion at $682 or $83 million. That means their current assets, their assets that which they can use, that's liquid, that they can use within a year, and that's what current means, within a year time period. They can use that against their current liabilities, is almost 3.7 times that which they are liable for, which I'm sure institutional investors love to see. But the truth is, Palantir doesn't need to raise money in the short term. So this really does seem to be, as indicated by this Investopedia article here, a 3-year time period thing. So what are the advantages of doing this? That's a good question. A shelf offering provides an issuing company with tight control over the process of offering new shares. So yes, offering new shares, here we go again. It allows the company to control the share's price by allowing the investment to manage the supply of its security in the market. A shelf offering also enables a company to save on the cost of registration with the SEC by not having to re-register each time it wants to release new shares. Well, I can already hear people sounding off in the comments. They're just going to be issuing shares and they don't even have to announce it. They're making this announcement now. We'll see how the stock reacts on Monday. I will show you actually. Here we are in after hours. Funny thing is, I actually bought stock not even knowing about this around here, but you'll see. Palantir was at 24.34 heading into the after hours session and just plummeted, not tremendously, but a good amount, down to 23.72 on the news. This is what I'm guessing, and then recovered back to 24. It'll be very, very interesting to see what happens next week, but I would not be surprised if Palantir heads lower on this news. Personally, I don't think it's a positive nor a negative until we know exactly what they're using this money for, which we will find out probably around the earnings report. Since, again, they did not make a news statement here. It was under the financials with their filing. So I would love to know what they're using this money for, whether they have an idea. Of course, they probably have an idea of some kind what they want to use it for. But if they don't, maybe it's just some sort of secure way that they can get money if they really need it in the future, if they're in a bad position. But they are not currently. We were just looking at their assets tremendously outweighing their liabilities. So I'll get to more on what this could be used for in a second. Okay, so we're good there. Let's move on. So there's a lot of good stuff going on Twitter here. We have TJ Evans saying, due to the strong balance sheet, which we were just looking at, and huge cash reserves, again, we just saw over $2 billion in cash, the discussion has arisen that there could potentially be an acquisition on the horizon, albeit perhaps unlikely. Okay, giving some credit to Reddit, which we'll look at in a second. What companies might Palantir seek to acquire? So they've acquired 6 companies within the past 8 years. In 2013, there was one. In 2013, VoiceGem. 2014, PopTip, Propeller, Markover, Silk, Kimono Labs. So this shareholder saying not concerned at all at this offering because it has a 3-year window, which we just saw officially, and clearly the company is not about to fold. Yeah, that is pretty clear. And that is why we're not seeing a massive reaction in after hours. Once people actually hear about this, there might be a reaction. Judging by the fact that this news was live for however many hours, if we're seeing that Palantir did not try and bury this at 7:59 p.m. It was actually at 4:30, around 4:20 actually. I don't know what they're doing, but there was plenty of time for the after hours session to go sideways or lower for that means, but it just went sideways. So dilution is certainly a concern, but we've had plenty of dilution and it's beginning to Well, that's an interesting idea that since CARP will begin to be easing off the dilution, if there's room for more dilution. What do you think in the comments? Generating revenue, acquiring talent, widening the moat, as Sham and Glazer have been adamant about on conference calls over the next few years. And yes, they have said, this is very good that he's bringing this up, that Palantir's revenue growth will outpace dilution, which, of course, that would be very necessary. So here's the official Reddit post that this Twitter user, TJ Evans, was referring to. So this person is speculating that they probably did this to have the option to raise additional capital through the stock market itself if some unforeseen challenge arises. So this is very interesting. I wonder why, if that is the case, more companies do not do this. Perhaps a safety mechanism to defend against any uncertainty where they could just say, we're going to use this now. Palantir, always forward thinking, always forward looking. How can we be the best that we can be? Use all the tools at our disposal. This could be one of those. But could it be an acquisition, as we were saying? That remains to be seen. What I'm not sure about, well, let's keep going down. Yeah, so probably not a large acquisition. ABCL, I was talking about them on the channel with Chris Patel. It really is too big of a company, and I like what Sachin's saying here. They can do so many more SPAC investments and pretty much get those customers on board with that money than just buying one company. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I've got some more stuff for you here. Jake Yu saying on Twitter that he's leaning towards capital investment in pipe companies, meaning SPACs. He'd be surprised if it was an acquisition. But so the thing here is, I'm not sure why they would be raising more money to do SPAC investments. SPACs are risky. I don't know why you need to raise money to invest in more SPACs. I think you can use the cash on the balance sheet as we were looking at, right? Look at all this cash. Why would you raise money, take on more debt, or not? Sorry, it's not debt. Let me make that clear, because it's a stock offering, it's dilution. Why would you dilute shareholders just so you could buy more SPACs when you have that much money on the balance sheet? So that really is becoming the question. You have all of this cash, but you are still doing stock-based compensation. You are now issuing more shares for this unknown. What they need to answer to with all of this is, we need to prove to you as shareholders that stock-based compensation and issuing more shares, that will all be worth it in the long run. So I would love to hear them explain this. I think they will have to on the next earnings call. And if they don't, I will try my best to get an answer from them directly. So anyway, Jake Yu saying here, he's speculating, and yeah, he wants to see what they intend to use this on. So perhaps, again, him saying here that the pipe investments seem to be extremely advantageous, and they intend to continue on that course, but they may not want to pay out of pocket. Again, I'm not the one running the company, but I do not understand that argument. So that's all I got for you right now. We'll see how Palantir stock does on Monday. It's going to be an interesting trading session with this uncertainty here, if you will. And yeah, we are now in Q4, so we will be awaiting Palantir's Q3 results. There were a bunch of contracts coming in at the last minute. I can't wait to see what sort of results Palantir is able to put up. Will they be able to post 49% revenue growth again? Oh, that's very interesting right here. Take a look at that. The most recent news Palantir has was their Q2 earnings report. And before that was them announcing their Q2 earnings report. But let's look at how many news segments there were actually in between that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 news announcements in between Q2 and Q1. And right now, we just closed Q3, and we haven't had a single news announcement. What do you think about that? All right. Anyways, I'll leave it there for now. I hope this was helpful, just trying to speculate and hypothesize on what this could possibly mean, this offering. They said the use of proceeds, and this doesn't make much sense, but they say that we intend to use the net proceeds we receive from the sale of securities by us as set forth in the applicable prospectus supplement. So I guess the supplement is here. Again, I was just about to end the video, but let's see what else we can do here. The supplement, I'm not sure what they're referring to specifically, but prospectus summary, is that what it is? I'm guessing that's what it is. So we're going to go back to that prospectus summary. So they say they're a software company. They talk about Gotham and Foundry. Securities that may be offered is common stock and some other ones. Yeah, they leave it very broad. So I will leave it very broad as well. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Until next time.